Imagine this. You check your blood sugar, and within minutes, literally minutes, it starts dropping. No complicated routine, no expensive supplements, no extreme dieting. Just simple, science-backed actions that can change the way your body handles sugar almost immediately. Sounds unbelievable, right? But stay with me, because what I'm about to explain could completely change how you manage your energy, your weight, and even your long-term health. Now, most people think blood sugar control is something that takes weeks or months to fix. They assume it's all about strict diets, cutting everything they love, or relying only on medication. But here's the truth that many don't realize. Your blood sugar is incredibly responsive. Your body reacts fast, sometimes within minutes, to the choices you make. And if you know what to do, you can actually trigger your body to start lowering blood sugar almost instantly. Let me explain how this works in a simple way. Every time you eat, especially foods high in carbohydrates or sugar, your blood glucose levels rise. That's normal. Your body then releases insulin, which helps move that sugar out of your bloodstream and into your cells where it's used for energy. But the problem starts when this system doesn't work efficiently. Maybe your body isn't responding well to insulin, or maybe you're constantly spiking your blood sugar with certain foods. Over time, this leads to higher and higher blood sugar levels. But here's the good news. Your body also has built-in mechanisms to bring those levels down, and you can activate them almost immediately. One of the fastest ways to drop your blood sugar is something so simple that most people overlook it completely: movement. Even just a short walk can make a huge difference. When you move your muscles, they start using glucose for energy right away. And the amazing part is, this process doesn't even require insulin. That means even if your body is struggling with insulin resistance, your muscles can still pull sugar out of your bloodstream. Think about that for a second. You eat a meal, your blood sugar rises, and instead of just sitting or lying down, you go for a 10 to 15-minute walk. What happens? Your muscles immediately start absorbing that sugar, lowering your blood glucose levels naturally. This is one of the most powerful and underused tools for blood sugar control. And it doesn't have to be intense exercise. You don't need a gym. You don't need fancy equipment. Just walking at a steady pace is enough to trigger this effect. In fact, doing it right after meals is even more effective because that's when your blood sugar is at its peak. Now, let's talk about another powerful trick that can start working almost immediately: hydration. Yes, something as basic as drinking water can help lower blood sugar. When you're dehydrated, your blood becomes more concentrated, which can actually increase glucose levels. But when you drink water, you help dilute the glucose in your bloodstream and support your kidneys in flushing out excess sugar through urine. It's simple, but it works. Many people walk around mildly dehydrated all day without realizing it, and this alone can make blood sugar control harder. So if you're serious about improving your health, start by making sure you're drinking enough water consistently throughout the day. Now here's something that might surprise you. The order in which you eat your food can also affect how quickly your blood sugar rises and falls. This is something doctors and researchers have been paying more attention to recently, and the results are fascinating. If you eat carbohydrates first, like bread, rice, or sweets, your blood sugar spikes quickly. But if you start your meal with protein, fiber, or healthy fats, something different happens. These nutrients slow down digestion and the absorption of sugar into your bloodstream. So when you eventually eat carbs, the rise in blood sugar is much more gradual. Imagine eating a meal where you start with vegetables or a salad, then move on to protein like chicken or eggs, and finally, eat your carbs. That simple change in sequence can significantly reduce blood sugar spikes. And when spikes are lower, your body can bring levels down more easily and quickly. Now let's go even deeper, because there's something else happening inside your body that most people don't think about: stress. When you're stressed, your body releases hormones like cortisol and adrenaline. These hormones are designed to prepare you for action, but one of their effects is increasing blood sugar. Why? Because your body thinks you need quick energy to deal with a threat, so it releases stored glucose into your bloodstream. The problem is, in today's world, most stress isn't physical, it's mental. Deadlines, worries, lack of sleep, overthinking. Your body reacts the same way, even though you're not actually running or fighting. So your blood sugar goes up, but you're not using that energy. Over time, this can contribute to chronically high blood sugar levels. The solution isn't complicated, but it does require awareness. Simple breathing exercises, even just a few minutes of deep, slow breathing, can help calm your nervous system and reduce stress hormones. Activities like meditation, spending time outside, or even just stepping away from screens can have a noticeable effect on your blood sugar. And speaking of sleep, this is another factor that can influence your blood sugar more than you might think. Poor sleep can make your body less sensitive to insulin, meaning glucose stays in your bloodstream longer. Even one night of bad sleep can affect how your body handles sugar the next day. So if you're trying to control your blood sugar, don't ignore your sleep. Aim for consistent, quality rest. It's not just about feeling better, it's about giving your body the ability to regulate itself properly. Now let's talk about food choices, because this is where many people get confused. It's not just about avoiding sugar, it's about understanding how different foods affect your body. Highly processed foods, especially those high in refined carbohydrates, can cause rapid spikes in blood sugar. Think white bread, sugary drinks, pastries. These foods are quickly broken down into glucose, leading to sharp increases in blood sugar. On the other hand, whole foods, like vegetables, whole grains, nuts, seeds, and lean proteins, are digested more slowly. This leads to a more stable release of glucose into your bloodstream, making it easier for your body to manage. And here's something important. You don't have to eliminate carbs completely. Your body needs carbohydrates for energy. The key is choosing the right types and balancing them with protein, fiber, and fats. For example, instead of having plain white rice, you might pair a smaller portion with vegetables and protein. This combination slows down the absorption of sugar and prevents spikes. Now let's talk about something that works almost immediately and is backed by science: apple cider vinegar. When taken before meals, it can help improve insulin sensitivity and reduce the rise in blood sugar after eating. It's not a magic solution, but it can be a helpful tool when used correctly. Just a small amount diluted in water before a meal can make a difference. But remember, consistency matters more than any single action. Another powerful factor is muscle mass. The more muscle you have, the better your body is at using glucose. Muscle acts like a sponge for sugar. So building and maintaining muscle through regular activity can significantly improve blood sugar control over time. This doesn't mean you need to become a bodybuilder. Simple resistance exercises, even using your own body weight, can help. Things like squats, push-ups, or lifting light weights at home can make a big difference. Now let's bring this all together. Imagine this scenario. You eat a balanced meal, starting with vegetables and protein. You drink enough water throughout the day. After eating, you go for a short walk. You manage your stress and get good sleep. Each of these actions may seem small on its own, but together they create a powerful effect. Your blood sugar rises less, and when it does, your body brings it down faster. Over time, this leads to better energy levels, improved metabolism, and a lower risk of serious health issues. And here's the most important thing to understand. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to follow extreme rules. Small, consistent changes can have a huge impact. If you take just one thing from this, let it be this: your body responds quickly. The choices you make today can affect your blood sugar within minutes. That means you have more control than you think. So the next time you eat, don't just think about what you're eating. Think about what you do after. A simple walk could be the difference between a spike and a stable level. A glass of water could help your body function more efficiently. A moment of calm could prevent unnecessary increases in blood sugar. This is not about restriction. It's about understanding how your body works and using that knowledge to your advantage. Because when you do that, something powerful happens. You stop feeling like your health is out of control. You start making choices with confidence. And over time, those choices add up to real, lasting change. And if you've made it this far, I want you to think about your own routine. What's one small change you can start today? Maybe it's walking after meals. Maybe it's drinking more water. Maybe it's improving your sleep. Start there. Keep it simple. Stay consistent, and watch how your body responds. Because the truth is, lowering your blood sugar doesn't have to be complicated. Sometimes, the fastest changes come from the simplest actions. And this is where things get even more interesting. Because what most people don't realize is that your blood sugar isn't just controlled by your pancreas or your diet alone. It's also deeply influenced by something living inside you right now. Trillions of tiny organisms, your gut microbiome, are constantly interacting with the food you eat, the hormones your body releases, and the way your cells respond to sugar. This hidden system inside your digestive tract can either help stabilize your blood sugar or quietly push it out of control without you even noticing. Think of your gut like a massive control center. Every time you eat, your gut doesn't just digest food. It communicates with your brain, your liver, and your entire metabolic system. Inside your intestines, there are trillions of bacteria, some beneficial, some harmful, and the balance between them plays a huge role in how your body handles glucose. When this balance is healthy, your body becomes more efficient at processing sugar. But when it's disrupted, things can go in the opposite direction. Let's break this down in a simple way. When you eat carbohydrates, they're broken down into glucose, which enters your bloodstream. But before that glucose even reaches your blood, your gut bacteria are already interacting with it. Certain types of beneficial bacteria actually help slow down the absorption of sugar, preventing sharp spikes. They also produce compounds that improve insulin sensitivity, which means your body can use glucose more effectively. Now imagine the opposite situation. If your gut is dominated by harmful bacteria, something that happens more often than people think, those protective effects start to disappear. Sugar gets absorbed more quickly, insulin becomes less effective, and blood sugar levels stay elevated for longer periods. Over time, this can lead to insulin resistance, one of the main drivers of type 2 diabetes. But here's what makes this even more powerful. Your gut microbiome is not fixed. It changes based on your daily habits, especially what you eat. That means every meal you have is either supporting a healthy gut environment or disrupting it. One of the most important factors here is fiber. Not the processed kind, not supplements, but real, natural fiber from foods like vegetables, fruits, legumes, and whole grains. This type of fiber isn't fully digested by your body. Instead, it travels to your colon, where it becomes food for your beneficial gut bacteria. And when these bacteria feed on fiber, something amazing happens. They produce substances called short-chain fatty acids. These compounds play a critical role in regulating blood sugar. They help improve insulin sensitivity, reduce inflammation, and even influence hormones that control hunger and glucose levels. So when you eat a fiber-rich meal, you're not just feeding yourself, you're feeding the bacteria that help control your blood sugar. It's like creating a partnership inside your body, where the right microbes support your metabolic health in real time. But if your diet is low in fiber and high in processed foods, sugar, and unhealthy fats, that partnership starts to break down. Harmful bacteria begin to thrive, and beneficial ones decrease. This imbalance is known as dysbiosis, and it's strongly linked to poor blood sugar control. Now here's something that many people overlook completely. The state of your gut lining also matters. Your intestines are lined with a thin barrier that controls what gets absorbed into your bloodstream. In a healthy gut, this barrier is strong and selective. But when your gut microbiome is imbalanced, this lining can become more permeable, a condition often referred to as leaky gut. When this happens, substances that shouldn't enter your bloodstream can pass through. This triggers inflammation in the body, and inflammation is one of the biggest enemies of proper blood sugar regulation. It interferes with insulin signaling, making it harder for your cells to respond to insulin effectively. So now you have a situation where your gut is not only failing to support blood sugar control, but actively making it worse through inflammation and poor signaling. And this is why two people can eat the exact same meal and have completely different blood sugar responses. It's not just about the food, it's about the internal environment processing that food. Another fascinating aspect of the gut microbiome is how quickly it can respond to changes. Studies have shown that your gut bacteria can start shifting within just a few days of changing your diet. That means if you start feeding your body the right foods, you can begin to see improvements in blood sugar regulation sooner than you might expect. Let's talk about fermented foods for a moment, because these are incredibly powerful when it comes to gut health. Foods like yogurt, kefir, sauerkraut, and kimchi contain live beneficial bacteria that can help restore balance in your gut. When you consume these regularly, you're essentially introducing helpful microbes that support digestion, reduce inflammation, and improve how your body handles glucose. But it's not just about adding good bacteria, it's also about creating an environment where they can thrive. And that brings us back to your daily habits. Stress, poor sleep, and certain medications, especially antibiotics, can disrupt your gut microbiome. Even if you're eating well, these factors can still affect the balance of bacteria in your gut. Think about stress again. When you're under constant stress, your body releases hormones that can alter gut function. This can change the composition of your microbiome, reducing beneficial bacteria and allowing harmful ones to grow. At the same time, stress can increase inflammation, which further impacts blood sugar control. Sleep plays a similar role. Lack of sleep doesn't just affect your energy levels, it can also change your gut bacteria in ways that promote insulin resistance. This creates a cycle where poor sleep leads to worse gut health, which then leads to poorer blood sugar control. Now let's go even deeper into how your gut communicates with the rest of your body. There's something called the gut-brain axis, which is essentially a two-way communication system between your gut and your brain. Your gut bacteria can influence this communication by producing neurotransmitters and other signaling molecules. These signals can affect your appetite, your cravings, and even your food choices. Ever noticed how sometimes you crave sugary or processed foods without really knowing why? Part of that could be influenced by the types of bacteria in your gut. Certain microbes thrive on sugar and processed foods, and they can actually send signals that make you crave more of those foods. This creates a feedback loop. You eat more sugar, those bacteria grow stronger, and they continue driving those cravings. At the same time, your blood sugar becomes harder to control. But when you shift your diet toward whole, nutrient-dense foods, something different happens. The beneficial bacteria that thrive on fiber and natural foods start to increase, and over time, your cravings begin to change. You may start to feel less dependent on sugary snacks and more satisfied with balanced meals. And here's where it becomes really empowering. You're not just controlling your blood sugar directly, you're changing the system that influences your behavior, your metabolism, and your overall health. Now let's talk about one more key factor: diversity. A healthy gut microbiome isn't just about having a lot of bacteria. It's about having a wide variety of different species. The more diverse your gut bacteria, the more resilient your system becomes. Different types of bacteria perform different functions. Some help break down fiber, others produce beneficial compounds, and some support your immune system. When your microbiome is diverse, these functions work together more effectively, creating a stable environment for blood sugar regulation. So how do you increase this diversity? The answer is surprisingly simple: variety in your diet. Eating a wide range of plant-based foods, different vegetables, fruits, nuts, seeds, and whole grains, introduces different types of fiber and nutrients that feed different bacteria. Instead of eating the same few foods every day, try to include a variety of colors and types in your meals. Each one contributes to a richer, more balanced microbiome. And remember, this isn't about perfection. You don't need to completely overhaul your diet overnight. Even small changes, like adding one extra serving of vegetables or including a fermented food in your routine, can start to make a difference. Over time, these changes add up. Your gut becomes healthier, inflammation decreases, insulin sensitivity improves, and your blood sugar becomes more stable. What's truly fascinating is how interconnected everything is. Your gut health affects your blood sugar affects your energy affects your choices, and your choices feed back into your gut. It's all part of the same system. And once you understand that system, you start to see that managing blood sugar isn't just about avoiding sugar. It's about supporting the environment inside your body that determines how sugar is handled. So instead of focusing only on what not to eat, start thinking about what you can add. Foods that nourish your gut, habits that support balance, and choices that create a healthier internal ecosystem. Because when your gut is working with you instead of against you, your body becomes much more efficient at regulating blood sugar, often in ways that feel almost effortless compared to constant restriction and control. And this brings us to another powerful factor that most people overlook completely, and that is not just what you eat, but when you eat. The timing of your meals can have a surprisingly strong effect on how your body handles blood sugar, and once you understand this, it can completely change the way you structure your day. Your body runs on an internal clock, often referred to as your circadian rhythm. This clock doesn't just control your sleep, it also affects your hormones, your digestion, and how sensitive your body is to insulin at different times of the day. In simple terms, your body is naturally better at handling sugar earlier in the day and less efficient at processing it later, especially at night. Think about how you feel in the morning compared to late at night. In the morning, your body is waking up, your metabolism is more active, and your cells are generally more responsive to insulin. This means that when you eat, your body can move glucose out of your bloodstream and into your cells more efficiently. As the day goes on, this efficiency gradually decreases, and by the time you reach late evening or night, your body becomes more resistant to insulin. Now imagine eating the same meal at two different times, one in the morning and one late at night. Even if the meal is identical, your blood sugar response can be very different. When eaten earlier, your body handles it smoothly, with a smaller rise in blood sugar. But when eaten late, that same meal can cause a higher spike and a slower return to normal levels. This is one of the reasons why late-night eating is so strongly associated with poor blood sugar control. It's not just about the calories or the food itself. It's about how your body is prepared to handle that food at that specific time. Another important point is how meal timing affects your fasting periods. When you eat late at night, especially close to bedtime, your body doesn't get enough time to enter a proper fasting state. This matters because during fasting, your body has a chance to reset, use stored energy, and improve insulin sensitivity. But if you're constantly eating late, that fasting window becomes shorter, and your body stays in a more constant fed state. Over time, this can lead to higher baseline blood sugar levels and reduced metabolic flexibility. Now let's talk about something practical. Imagine two different routines. In the first one, someone eats their last meal around 7 p.m. and doesn't eat again until the next morning. In the second routine, someone eats dinner late and then snacks again around 10 or 11 p.m. Even if the total amount of food is similar, the second pattern is more likely to lead to higher blood sugar levels overnight and into the next day. And here's something that many people don't realize. Your body's ability to handle glucose at night is not just slightly worse. It can be significantly reduced. That means late-night meals can keep your blood sugar elevated for hours, sometimes even affecting your fasting glucose levels the next morning. There's also the connection between meal timing and sleep quality. Eating late, especially heavy or carbohydrate-rich meals, can disrupt your sleep. And as we've already discussed, poor sleep can make your body more resistant to insulin. So now you have a situation where late eating affects your blood sugar directly and indirectly through sleep disruption. But this doesn't mean you have to follow extreme rules or stop eating after a certain time no matter what. The goal is to align your eating pattern more closely with your body's natural rhythm. One simple approach is to shift more of your calorie intake earlier in the day. That means having a balanced breakfast or lunch and not saving the majority of your food for late evening. When you do this, you're giving your body the best chance to process glucose efficiently. Another strategy is to create a consistent eating window. This doesn't have to be strict intermittent fasting, but having a regular pattern, like eating within a 10 to 12-hour window during the day, can help your body maintain better control over blood sugar levels. Consistency is key here. When you eat at similar times each day, your body starts to anticipate those meals. Hormones involved in digestion and insulin release become more predictable, which leads to more stable blood sugar responses. Now let's look at how skipping meals fits into this picture, because this is where many people get confused. Some people skip breakfast and eat later in the day, thinking it will help control calories or blood sugar. But for some individuals, especially those with insulin resistance, skipping early meals can actually lead to larger blood sugar spikes later on. When you go a long time without eating, your body may become more sensitive to the next meal, especially if that meal is high in carbohydrates. This can result in a sharper rise in blood sugar compared to eating smaller, balanced meals earlier in the day. On the other hand, some people do well with structured fasting, but the key is that it should still align with your natural rhythm. Eating earlier in the day and finishing meals earlier tends to be more beneficial than delaying eating until late afternoon or evening. Another factor to consider is hormonal balance. Hormones like cortisol, which we mentioned earlier, follow a daily pattern. Cortisol is naturally higher in the morning and helps your body wake up and mobilize energy. This works well with eating earlier in the day because your body is already prepared to handle nutrients. But when you eat late at night, cortisol levels are lower, and your body is shifting toward rest and recovery mode. Introducing a large amount of food, especially carbohydrates during this time, can disrupt that balance and lead to less efficient glucose processing.